this live. I know it's been a while. It's just been a lot of day to day stuff going on. Life has definitely been lifing, but I am back and trying to get back to my schedule of uploading at least once or twice a week. For now until things kind of slow down, and then hopefully I'll be able to upload a few more times a week. But for now, it'll most likely be once or twice a week. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And this title of this live is definitely gonna be, Are the Braxtons Done for Good? Um, I was very hesitant on making this video because I have been definitely a fan viewer of the Braxtons, even when Tracy was alive, and when the whole show started. I watched the spinoffs. I most of the time enjoyed the Braxtons up until this most recent season. I'm really like disgusted with this season, and that's why I said this. I wasn't sure if I was even gonna, because originally, before the season 2 started of this new Braxton series, it was hard for me to kind of do a review on the first season because it was just so emotional, especially with all of us knowing how it feels to lose a loved one, and them seeing them trying to grieve together, and have a lot of up and down with each other. It was definitely a hard season for me to review, but I was able to, share my thoughts on some of the things out of that season. But season 2, this season, it really like is emotionally terrible because even though I don't know them, I don't know the Braxtons, obviously. I'm just a normal individual who's watching a show. But at the same time, it's a reality show. So it's most majority of how they are or how they treat each other. And even though I understand in reality that family is going to have ups and downs, that's normal. Dealing with imperfect people, you're going to have disagreements. You're not going to always get along, whether your sister, brother, husband, wife, siblings. It's something that's expected because everybody has their moment where they say something wrong or act in a way they shouldn't. So that's not why I say it's emotionally disturbing or terrible to me. The part that I think that bothers me the most is the fact that they did lose their sister and also lost their cousin, I think a little bit before that or a little bit after Tracy's passing. No, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you can correct me if I'm wrong, their cousin died and then Tracy passed away a year or two after that. But it's just seeing a family, and I know this is not the only family in the world that obviously have problems, but where you guys have to film separate, you're actually physically putting your hands on each other. And I'm not picking sides. I'm just viewing a general view of each thing. Cuz I don't know any of these people personally. I'm just simply going from what I see. So, like like I said, when it's getting to a point of physical altercation and that is your blood, it's to a point where, when will we say, you know what, let's take this off from the world to see, and let's deal with this in private. And not saying, because I mean, sometimes with some things, people probably think, well, if I show this side of my family or this particular situation can help others who may be dealing with the same situation, may it show understanding. It shows, of course, that we're human just like everybody else, which of obviously all famous are just humans on television. They're not no different from us. They're whether they have a show, music, whatever, it's a job. And some of those jobs side, we all are still made the same on the inside. It's they're not different. They just on camera doing their job. But the point that I was trying to get across is, I feel like when there's that much chaos starting to consume the basis of what the show originally was, because if you were a day one watcher of the Braxtons, of course they had their common disagreements, and that's what, like I said, that can happen, especially when it's a group of women, and we have disagreements. It's you gonna have disagreements whether you're related or not. But I felt like, just to me, and this could be my wrong perspective, but I felt like they were a little more loving and talked and communicated a little bit more in the beginning of the Braxton series in general. But over time, it went from even just a little bit of communication into complete chaos. Something needs to be thought as to, is this worth continuing to broadcast? And don't get me wrong, not just only saying this because they're African American. Because I would even say this if it was Caucasian, whatever. I don't look, color is not. I will never, try to, you know, make it seem like, oh, because it's making black people look bad or something like that. It's nothing like that, because it happens. This happens, arguments happen. But I'm just thinking, you guys really at some point want to try to at least find some peace. And it's not just this season. Like, even before the season where they were grieving the loss of Tracy, it was kind of getting there. I say around the Braxton family values, like mid season, I want to say around season 4 and 5. I started kind of feeling like that. But I was like, okay, maybe, after a break or two, maybe they kind of work through some of that stuff as it goes on. But honestly, I feel like, and again, they're going to choose to broadcast this or not. And honestly, we don't have to watch it, or you don't have to watch it. And me personally, I honestly don't think, if this type of behavior continues, I would support this show anymore, because, like I said, I do understand that family, you're going to have disagreements, but when it's getting that, like, how much are you willing to expose, tell you, say, well, this is just not for the cameras. We need to take the cameras away and really work on our relationship without the world in it. Because sometimes, and I know some people don't look at it that way, money is not the answer to everything. Yes, it may financially secure you, and you may not have to worry about bills or what have you. But what are you willing to sacrifice to keep that income? Is that income that necessary where you're willing to just let your whole family demolish just so you can keep relevancy, or just so you can bring, as they say, the fans will give the fans what they want? How more important is that than your family? Because at the end of the day, once everybody is immune to common problems in this world, whether health issues, family problems, anything, crime, money doesn't take away everything. So at the end of the day, when the cameras are off, that's still your blood. Now, I'm not saying you have to continue to accept bad behavior from family. Yes, I completely agree that you have to set boundaries when it's toxic situations, when people are negative or stressing you out, because stress can kill you. So I agree with that. Even myself, with my own personal stuff, I had to realize certain people I couldn't be around every day, that I had to set boundaries. And that goes for family and friends. But the thing is, when will you get to a point where you say, you know what, maybe we just need to pause? Even if they just temporarily get off the camera, work through some things in private, get the media out of it, and then come back with a somewhat okay show that deal with issues, but not so physical, not so toxic. And I think it's just one of those things. I really think that could be a big help for them if they consider at some point maybe just simply taking the cameras away. Sometimes I feel like being out in the open, in the spotlight, if even if the, because it possibly could have been stuff brewing even before we knew who the Braxtons, the siblings, all that. They could have had these problems, because every family has problems. Every family has secrets and things that they've dealt with. So that's not what I'm saying. Like, oh, if they not picture perfect, because ain't no one picture perfect. It's everybody has problems, but I guess because I was raised in a time, in my time, where some things aren't for everybody to see. But I know nowadays that has changed for a lot of people. They feel like the more you see, the better, because you see the realistic of life, see the realistic of how everyday families are. But I feel like it's a certain point where you're like, okay, this is something we need to handle outside and get the world out of it. Because even being married, I'm sure many of us have come. You can't have family or even friends, your closest friends, be so involved in your life where you're telling them every single thing that occurs, to the point where they're literally almost in control of your marriage and constantly giving opinion about your marriage, when you're the one in your marriage, you're the one married to your husband or your wife. So just like that, many marriages and many people I've talked to that's married have said they realize that you can't constantly involve family or friends in your marriage. The main person that needs to be working through and communicating with is your husband or your wife, and obviously God. Some things are meant to be just those three, not the outside world coming in. Now, another thing I wanted to kind of talk about with this show. Um, I did say I can relate to Tamar in one aspect, which is her making a statement that at the end of the episode 6, that she's the one that always end up coming back to make things right. And she's getting to a point where she's tired of being the one, like, no matter what happens or how they hurt her feelings, she still disregards it and still be. She still disregards whatever the case may be. And I'm not saying, oh, because it's Tamar, she didn't do nothing. Because I'm sure they all played a part in their disagreements. There's no innocent party. Everybody has their own version of the story. But what I'm saying, just from my personal opinion, I can relate to the person that always trying to make things right, even when I haven't been the one that wrong, which is a good thing in a sense. But I think people get misconstrued that because you make peace and you can, you know, be respectable of each other, that means you have to constantly be around them. And like Tamar mentioned, that she constantly gets heat from people because they constantly tell her, "Oh, that's your family, though. You shouldn't just not talk to them at all. That's your family, though." But I'm like, if it was a random person that wasn't your blood and they're treating you bad, stressing you out to the point where it's causing you health problems, I'm not just talking about Tamar, anybody in general in life, you do have to make sure you keep your peace. And I've learned this stuff as I've gotten older. I'm now 33 years old, and I've really came to a better understanding of what that means. I've came to a better understanding of what forgiveness means. Forgiveness is good for you to do because it allows you to let go of resentment and allows you to really let go of what the person has done. But at the same time, nothing says in forgiveness that you have to continue to constantly accept the wrong behavior. It's nothing wrong with setting boundaries. Now, I do always say, whether it's a sister, brother, best friend, you still supposed to love your enemy or your sibling. And it's not that you don't love them. It's just that you may not can tolerate their behavior all the time. You love them, of course. I'm sure you probably even check on them from time to time, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that doesn't mean, I think a lot of people don't understand, that doesn't mean just because you're family, you have to take toxic environment, period. That doesn't mean, because right when another person or a friend does it, you would cut them off without a thought in the world and say, I'm not going to deal with this person no more. I wish them the best. I hope everything goes well with them, but I'm not going to be around them because I don't like how I feel when I'm around them. I don't like how they treat me, whatever the situation may be. And the thing is, a lot of people need to realize that's okay. I'm pretty sure, at least with most families, I would hope that if it was a dire need, they would still be there despite whatever the situation is. Because I mean, I know for me personally, regardless of my siblings, we may have our disagreements and stuff, but if it was really a time that she needed our help and I can find a way to help, I will. Or if I can't, I'll try to look and see who can. But the point, besides that, I wouldn't necessarily deal with my siblings on a constant basis because there's times they stress me out. And like again, I said, stress can kill you. So you have to, especially when you're a parent or a single mother or got both in household, whatever the case may be, you need to make sure you're okay in order to take care of your household. And for me personally, I have definitely honed in on that more now. I've dealt with over the past 2 years of how important it is for me to make sure I'm okay, making sure my health is okay, making sure that I'm taking care of myself mentally, physically, so I can endure through the everyday. And if I feel like someone's stressing me to a point that I'm starting to not feel like myself, I give myself some time and space to recollect myself, deal with it, and then I do reach out to that person if they need my help or whatever the case may be. But I will not, rather friend, family, allow somebody to kill me out, especially with, I feel like sometimes with the Braxtons too, I feel like a lot of times they want sometimes like to make you force you to understand what their view of things is. And sometimes you're not going to win that battle of convincing a person to understand where you're coming from. Sometimes the best thing you could do is tell the person how they're making you feel. If they don't accept that they're doing that, then that's just something that they are going to have to deal with and hold their accountability when they're ready to do so. But also, you can't stress out about why she won't do this or why she won't acknowledge this. And the other thing I was thinking about with their mom, obviously she's getting older. You know, I for the longest I do always remember their mom saying how much she wants them to have as good of a relationship as possible, and how obviously it makes her happy to see her kids get along as best as they can. Of course, I know she expects as a mom, because I'm a mom, they're not going to get along all the time. They're going to have tit for tats. But honestly, I really think they should really, in private, not on camera, but in private, sit and really talk. Because the thing is, every choice you make affects people around you. And I don't think sometimes they think about all this drama that they're fussing and all this pettiness. It's taken from a person that has lost her mother. I lost my mom 5 years ago, and I miss her every day. And honestly, all the petty crap that they fuss about, and as much losses as they've had already, the stupid stupidity that they're having could possibly push their mother to leaving sooner than she has to, because even if she doesn't say anything, I'm sure it stresses her out seeing her kids like this. I'm wondering if she gonna even watch this episodes, seeing them. That would hurt me as a mother myself, seeing my kids fight that hard at each other like they're strangers, like they don't even know each other. And it's really sad. And I think that's a big reason why I say, for me personally, I hope that they do find some type of common ground with each other in some peaceable way to deal with each other, because honestly, I feel like it's not, I don't consider that good viewing for me. And that's why I say I think maybe after this season, I don't know, if things don't calm down some, I don't even know if I'm going to view it. I don't want to see family in chaos like this. I understand it happens. I understand it's real life. But it's just, life is so short. People are dying every day. And even though I'm not in their situation, I don't know their situation. I don't know the skeletons they have. But going from just another imperfect person, something definitely something. But I really do truly think off camera, I don't think it's worth them showing no more after this of until they really come to some type of healing. You know, I think they just all need a lot of personal healing private to themselves without the world being broadcast on them. I do feel like that gives a lot of extra pressure. But you guys, let me know what you think about this. I don't know if I'm gonna do a part two. I may just towards the end of the season do another thing of how I thought the season ended. But right now, I definitely can't stand emotionally what I'm seeing because no one likes to see anybody family, whether you don't know them or not, have that much drama. I'm not, at least me personally, I'm not the type that likes to see people going at each other, especially obviously, because at the end of the day, I do truly feel like they love each other. I feel like they really do care about each other, but I think it's just a lot of unresolved issues, a lot of trauma, and I think they really just need to get off the screen and really truly work on healing all of the family. Like, I just feel like they need to work on healing, not just together as individuals. But again, remember to like, share, subscribe, and let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with what I'm thinking, or what are your opinions on that? And I hope to see you guys next live. And I hope you guys continue to stay safe and have a great rest of your day. Peace.